Well, viewers, welcome back to another Heads Up podcast. And as you can see, it's the same three people as last week because we figured we've got every right to turn up again for another podcast after the events of Saturday afternoon. A warm welcome to our special guest, Luke Kimmies from Boys Get Paid, and welcome to you too, Neil. Happy Easter to you both. And a week's a long time in racing, and it's been an interesting 7 days since our last podcast, gentlemen.
It sure is. It's like the morning after a good night out, isn't it? Lasting for 6 days after last week's episode. No, it was fantastic. Luke, how are you feeling after last Saturday?
Yeah, good. It was a long day, that's for sure. I was up pretty early doing a bit of admin and just making sure everything was ready to go. And then to sit there and have to be eating all day with the adrenaline going up and down. And then for what we pulled off in that last race, it made for a pretty shaky night's sleep, that's for sure. But I watched something during the week from Anthony Joshua, and he said after a big fight, he doesn't usually sleep till about 6 a.m. because it's just so much adrenaline. So it's good to know that's potentially normal.
Yeah.
We certainly took a few body blows there early in the day, but we came with the last round knockout, so the bookies were down for the count after Rubisaki got the money. And gee, how exciting was that? The joy, the messages, Luke, you've had since Rubisaki crossed the line, taken you by surprise, or nothing surprises you these days?
Yeah, I would say nothing surprises me. I think it more reinforces what I often think and try and explain, and then I just probably it's good to read to then back up what I think and what I have been thinking. But yeah, some pretty amazing feedback just from different age groups been involved with the Punters Club. 70-year-old Alan Bryant, I think his name was, saying that he, it was the first time that he's been a part of a Punters Club and big bets like that, and then he was driving the bus the next day and missing people at their bus stops because he was just too caught in the moment. And then other guys as well that haven't necessarily been in the Punters Club before, or they might have heard about Boys Get Paid and thought, I might give this a go, this Punters Club, because there's not too much else on, and then found out that they've really, really enjoyed it thoroughly and got a real big buzz out of it. So, yeah, pretty cool to be able to bring all that together, especially and do it in only about 4 days.
There was one interesting comment too, that I think it was the bus driver he mentioned. It's probably the first race in a long time he's only watched one horse in the race. And I look back and think, gee, that was the only horse I was focused on in the race too. So I don't know about you guys, probably the same.
Yeah. Absolutely. The feedback's just been amazing around people who you wouldn't even expect to really be too into punters clubs, let alone racing, but you've captured the audience, an audience that's much wider than your traditional, shall we say, hardcore racegoer / punter, Luke. And so congratulations there. And it's bringing BGP literally into the mainstream. And you did a podcast on Tuesday night with ex-Black Cap cricketer Brendan McCullum, and there's quotes from that podcast that are used on mainstream news, News Talk ZB and One Network News and things like that. So again, how far-reaching is Boys Get Paid going to be, or already is and is continuing to be?
Yeah, definitely. It's something I reflected on probably even over the last couple of days. And so I've just actually doubled down on a little bit of advertising and stuff like that. And not big advertising, but just touching people that have got a friend that's in Boys Get Paid or that follow the page and things, just to capitalise off a time where there is a lack of entertainment and good quality content and stuff, and we're doing things from a different angle. So I think the work that we do now will pay benefit in the long term for some of the things we want to achieve around the Karaka Million and just getting people excited about racing in general. So now is a good time to be able to leverage off a lot of people slowing down and getting quiet. So I always say when others go quiet, we get loud. So we're going to keep it coming.
Well, as you all know, a punter's only as good as his last result. So we've got to back up again. For those that aren't aware, about 98% of the people stayed in the Punters Club. So there's still about $160,000 to have a play with this week. And there's been a few bets made already. If you don't know what they are, just download the BGP app on your smartphone. Very simple, and you'll get all those. But gentlemen, we're tasked with finding more winners again this Saturday. So it starts all over again. So why don't we start off having a little look at the feature race at Randwick, which is the Queen Elizabeth. From memory, that's race 9 on the card, is it? We're probably doing it in not a chronological order, but Neil, your thoughts at this stage on the Queen Elizabeth?
Yeah, what a top field it is. Those two European runners, plus we've got the two Kiwis, Yaka Shark and Melody Bell, and very elegant, of course. But the obvious one is the favourite. The query is all his form was on good tracks, back on a soft 5, soft 6, probably maybe even a soft 7 by Saturday afternoon. And he's up against horses that are proven on soft tracks. You've got Adib, who was a great win on a soft track last up. Tiakau Shah. What else we got? We've got Imaging and very elegant Melody Bell. They're all top class horses who adapt on this type of ground. So that's the query for me, and is a break for the last 20 weeks. So I really couldn't be on him at that price, $3.60 now. No, I like Adib, $4.50. I think he'll be either leading or trailing, and he looks the one to beat. And Tiakau Shark, he'll be getting the race run to suit. I think this time he'll be back, get out to that middle part of the track, and come storming home with Opion.
You'd think the 2,000 metres is what Tiakau Shark's looking for now. Luke, you've had a little bet on this race within the Punters Club. A place multi, including Tiakau Shark to run a place. You can see him storming down the outside.
Yeah, we'll never finish further back than 4th, I think, right, from 13 starts. So I think we had to have a go at $1.95. I think that's pretty good money. And you're proven on the wet track, like Neil says as well. So, yeah, bloody deep field, but we've got 30,000 a place, or just over 30,000 a place with Probabeel as well. So going for the two Kiwi Raiders. And I see that Tab have got a couple of head-to-head options on there with that Denon Premium with Adib. So Adib's $2, Neil, which might tickle your fancy. And interestingly, where you get through this whole field and you don't even really mention Melody Bell, I wonder if maybe it's just another race for her almost, or a bit of an afterthought. But she's $1.90 in a head-to-head against Master of Wine. So it's going to be potentially some interesting plays around those head-to-heads.
Gee, I'd have Melody Bell over Master of Wine.
Yeah.
Should be in the right spot. And that's interesting. Have a closer look at those. Well, it's good to hear they've got those head-to-heads up. If you can strike a bit of value, back into it.
They might not be up for much longer then, maybe.
The other race you wanted to preview, Neil, was the Sydney Cup. So just apologies, the Queen Elizabeth is race 8. I'm sure you've worked it out by now. The Sydney Cup is race number 7. And again, the international runners hit the market with Young Rascal. And Luke, we had a chat with the strapper, assistant trainer. What is he? Of Young Rascal.
Yeah. Travelling Foreman,
that's him. Yep.
Harry Eustace yesterday, and we asked what the story was of this young rascal, and they're pretty keen on him, weren't they?
Yeah, they certainly went shying away. They thought he had the credentials to run the 2-mile trip, which I guess is always the biggest question mark in these type of races. So, yep, I still thought 240 was a bit short, but hey, the camp was relatively confident.
Yeah, I agree with it. 240 is too short for me too. I thought Mr. G was the value, $5. He's been racing against much better fields than these, and he's been finding the line hard. And then those runs, 4th up, Nashua Willa, our favourite jockey from last week. And I thought he's the one. A couple of good roughies there. Azuro, proven over 2 miles, one over 2 miles 3 times. And down the bottom, Corncrake. Races like a stayer, head down, relaxed, and in great form, drawn 1. If the inside's okay, could be a sneaky for
Yeah, there's not much else in that field, is there? I was going through having a look, thinking, will we have a play with the Punters Club? And I was saying last night, I usually like something that's been able to run out the distance. And that's the thing that concerns me about that Worcestershire, is that it flopped in the Melbourne Cup, didn't it? I think it ran second last. But yeah, it was pretty nice last start. But yeah, that Azuro is obviously proven over 3,200, but hasn't been going that well last couple. But I know the stable are they said if he gets the right run, he should be in the finish. So I think there's 21s and 5:25.
Tough race, yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to go too crazy, would you, I suppose? But
What about the Kiwi, the chosen one? Spruiked heavily in the Melbourne Cup by one T Waterhouse, and he ran a bit worse than midfield from memory. Obviously, a lot lesser class of horse up against him on Saturday. Was he a chance, or just not really in the right vein of form to be winning a Sydney Cup?
well, that young rascal, when he won, they came up in 34.8 or something, one of the fastest last 600 metres all day. And the chosen one loomed up, didn't he, on the turn, sort of 3 or 4 lengths off the leaders. And he battled on well. So if he's been trained for 2 miles, it was nothing wrong with the run. So if you like him, I wouldn't talk you out of him.
We didn't really touch on the highlights from last week on the track. We talked about the Punters Club off the track. But Neil, the segue there, the Baker Forsman team delivering for you with Quick Thinker. That must have been a satisfying result to get that one up, and good to see the Kiwis continuing to take the Aussie money home with them when they get through quarantine.
It was interesting watching that race. I remember you, Luke, saying, I think he's got his mouth open, looking a bit keen. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was. Opie confirmed afterwards he was racing really keenly. So to loom up on the turn, you think, gee, how often does Opie Bosson lead on the turn and get beaten? Not very often. So I thought, well, he's just backing the Baker training fitness factor, isn't he? So that's what happened. Just kept on fighting them off, and it's very good.
It was the only one you wanted to be on at the turn, but at about the 100, there's one other that you're going, oh shit, where did this come from? Zabrowski actually touched on it in the podcast that I did on Saturday morning. That's something else that's been cool that's come out of this Punters Club, is that there's little subgroups of guys pulling their own little Zoom streams together. And I went on one Saturday morning. There's about 17 of them, and they were all dressed up for the races, had a giant spreadsheet that they could all see, and they did it bloody well, to be fair. And I took them a couple of roughies, and that was one of them, that Zabrowski, and then also Star of the Seas. So I fluked a couple for them.
Were they Kiwi guys or Aussies?
Yeah, all Kiwi lads, yeah.
Nice. Have you had much publicity from Australia around the Punters Club?
We always get sort of a bit more inquiry, and especially like bookmakers wanting to know, will we have a bet with them and things like that. We're pretty careful of that, and obviously preferences to support New Zealand tote first and foremost. But yeah, there's always the Aussie guys that couldn't get into that Punters Club. We didn't open it up for Aussie, and they're whinging about, oh, when are you going to open it up for us? And so we're working on that in the background as well. But yeah, it's just continues to grow.
What about other media outlets? I think, was there a mention on a few Aussie podcasts, Little Birdie perhaps?
Yeah, Little Birdie. RSN are usually pretty keen on what we're getting up to. So yeah, it's definitely got some coverage over there.
We just need to get Mr. Dufficy on board. Could you imagine it as the horses are lading away in the Queen Elizabeth and he reads out what BGP have got bets on? How good would that be?
That'd be good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, give it 2 or 3 years, we'll be putting on a couple of houses each race.
Yeah, it's getting quite scary, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Right, last week we had 5 correct answers for the question, which was?
The question was, funnily enough, a big bet that went astray for the Boys Get Paid Punters Club, Karaka Million Night 2019. The horse that only could run third was Madison County. 5 correct people. Luke, you're the guest selector. Put your hand in the bag and draw out a number.
Right, I've got a screen here. I'll just pull one out from number 1.
Number 1, Aaron P.
Aaron
Good on
P.
you, Aaron. I'll be in touch with you. Actually, last week I completely forgot to put on Steve Lawrence's bet form for the multi-winner. So, apologies, Steve. I got in contact with him, so I'll put your bet on again this week, Steve, along with Aaron's, and we'll see how we go. So, new question.
New question. Yeah. Okay. So we all know that at the moment racing's the only show in town from a sporting perspective, which is great. But a pretty simple question. This weekend, one of the great sporting events worldwide was supposed to be played, but has been cancelled. Probably one of my most favourite sporting events of the year. Pretty simple. what sporting event should have we been watching this Easter but aren't? Text or email your answers through to Neil by Monday, and you'll be in the draw next week.
Yeah, formpro at formpro.co.nz or 027 352 6402. Get in by Monday night, as the goat says. Okay, yeah, that's something I participated in that sport just before lockdown, and I really enjoyed doing it. So I'm looking forward to getting back into that, along with going to a great day of races. It's amazing how you just sort of miss that human contact, don't you? You know, camaraderie. So
I must say though, this
big day out somewhere. Reunions.
This technology is great though in terms of you've seen trackside presenters and hosts interview various industry figures. I think Luke spent his last 3 weeks basically on a Zoom podcast on one way or the other. So, hey, imagine I read somewhere, imagine if we didn't have any internet at home and we were self-isolated. It'd be a very different world to just not really being able to see people in a face-to-face capacity, but still feel connected via technology. So it's great, and hopefully, were the viewer numbers up last week, Neil? Do you know of our podcast?
I didn't check, but I'd say there would be. And for the Punters Club on Saturday, Luke, people can get the link to that Zoom watch through BGP?
Yeah, well, Zoom's actually taken down their ability to stream to Facebook. So we've had to use something new called StreamYard, which we're just working through before I came online here. We should be able to basically recreate what we did last Saturday and then stream it onto Facebook as well. So we didn't get to stream it onto Facebook last week, but if we did, I think it would have been even bigger, as more people would have watched without needing the software. So we'll put all those details into the app as well before Saturday so people can join in. And it's interesting, I checked in with the app developers on the Monday morning and they gave us a summary, and we're 50 people off 9,000 downloads of the BGP app. So it's a fair few bloody users. I think when we first launched it, I think it went to about 2,000, 3,000 users within about a week. And I thought we might get a few more than that. But I think we've only really had it for 5 months, maybe a little bit longer. And to be up at 9,000 users is pretty good going. To think that there's a BGP app sitting on 9,000 people's phones is pretty crazy thing to think about, eh?
Oh, yeah,
and just maybe if you're not overly technologically savvy, it's very simple. If you've got a smartphone, doesn't cost anything, very easy to download. Just go to your Play Store, Google Play, search Boys Get Paid, you'll see it there, download it, and then you've got it there. Then you just click on the icon on your phone, or you'll have notifications come through to you, so you'll see the bet. So I'm sure with the 50 extra Form Pro subscribers downloading the app today, Luke, you'll tick over that 9,000 mark, no problem.
Yeah, bloody beauty.
Nothing else you want to add,
No, just wish everyone a happy Easter and stay safe. We're over halfway by the looks of it. Hopefully it'll only be 4 weeks on level 4, and then we'll gradually get back to some semblance of normality. But yeah, just stay positive and enjoy your time with your people you're with, and enjoy the racing on Saturday.
Yeah, don't eat too many Easter eggs like I've been doing. How about you guys? Had your fair share? No.
No.
I've had 2 or 3, but only the little ones, Neil. So
yeah.
It's a beautiful day here in Auckland today. I'm looking forward to getting out for a bit of a run this afternoon and sweat off a couple of those and get the mind right before a big day's punting tomorrow.
Yeah, true, right. Yeah, that exercise is important. I've been going for a few bike rides just around the block, and it's great.
Man.
That exercise, yeah. Rightio, we'll catch up tomorrow then, and cross our fingers and see how we go.
Looking forward to it.